educational rights. Okay. Article 29, protection of interests of minorities. So when we talk of cultural and educational rights, we talk about the first heading, Article 29. Now this cultural and educational rights we covered Article 29 to Article 31. So in this we talk about the protection of interest of minorities. That means the minorities are those who are lesser in number than the majority. That means who are more in number in a particular area. Now, number one, any section of the citizens residing in the territory of India or any part thereof having a distinct language, script, or culture of its own shall have the right to conserve the same. Any part of India, if you have a particular custom, if you have a particular dialect or a language, and you want to preserve it, you can, you have the right to preserve that script, your culture, and without getting questioned, even if you are lesser in number. That means even if you are in minority. Then number two, no citizen shall be denied admission into any educational institution maintained by the state or receiving aid out of state fund on grounds only of religion, race, caste, language, or any of them. So that means any citizen, he cannot be denied admission कि नहीं हम तुम्हें admit नहीं कर सकते अपने school में just because कि he belongs to a different religion or different race or different caste, language, or any of them, if it is run by the state government. That means state has no say. It cannot be partial. It cannot stand for a particular religion and go against the other. Then Article 30 says, right of minorities to establish and administer educational institutions. That means the minorities who are lesser in number, they have a right to impart education, and also they can open their own private institutions for that. And number one, all minorities, whether based on religion or language, shall have the right to establish and administer educational institutions of their choice. All the minorities who are lesser in number, they have the right, or they are given the right that whatever they want, their religion or their language, if they want, they can administer, and they open up an educational institute of their own choice which deals with that particular religion or that particular language. Then 1A, in making any law providing for the compulsory acquisition of any property of an educational institution established and administered by a minority referred to in clause 1, the state shall ensure that the amount fixed by or determined under such law for the acquisition of such property is such as would not restrict or abrogate the right guaranteed under that clause. They are saying, supposing आपको कुछ स्टेट का ये कंपलसरी हो जाता है कि उसको वो लैंड जहां पर एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट है विच इज रन बाय द माइनॉरिटी, और वो किसी वजह से स्टेट को लेनी है, मे बी इट इज कमिंग इन द वे ऑफ अ हाईवे और समथिंग और एनी अदर इंपॉर्टेंट कंस्ट्रक्शन, इफ दे समहाउ गेट इनटू दिस क्लैश कि उनको वो एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट को चाहिए है, और वो स्पेशली अगर वो माइनॉरिटीज से है, सो even in that case they have to follow the proper laws. जो property acquisition means लेने, acquire करने के लिए होते हैं, उनको वो किसी भी हाल में ना restrict कर सकते हैं ना abrogate कर सकते हैं. Abrogate का मतलब होता है repel or do away with the law. ठीक है, they cannot abrogate that, they cannot restrict them. ठीक है, and especially they have to follow the clauses which are mentioned, which are guaranteed in our constitution for that particular purpose. Okay. Now we come on to the next page, the second clause. The state shall not, in granting aid to educational institutions, discriminate against any educational institution on the ground that it is under the management of a minority, whether based on religion or language. Okay. Supposing the state is giving grants, that means a particular specific amount is given to every institution by the state for promoting the educational concepts among children. Now, supposing that grant is being given to the educational institutions, so they cannot discriminate against any educational institute. वो ऐसा नहीं कर सकते कि किसी एक एजुकेशनल इंस्टीट्यूट को ज्यादा ग्रांट दें और एक को ना दें just because कि वो माइनॉरिटी से मैनेज्ड है. If they are giving, if it is coming under the state, then they have to be unbiased. That means the right of a person is to be equally and properly divided, properly given. Okay? Then autonomy of a minority institution does not dispense with the requirement to act fairly and a transparent manner. That means autonomy का मतलब लिख लो पहले तो. Right of a person या फिर organization to govern his or her own affairs. ठीक है? तो autonomy means कि right of a person या फिर organization to govern his own affairs. ठीक है? Now, even if that person is in minority, उसका अगर institute है, it cannot be dispensed of कि उसका required, it has to be transparent, it has to be free and fair, and only then it could work out. Then the rights conferred by Article 30 of the Constitution to the minority are in two parts. So Article 30 है, वो हमारे जो rights देता है minorities को, वो दो parts में bifurcated हैं. जरा सुन लो. The first is the right to establish the institution of minorities' choice. जो minority है, उसकी choice का institution उसको establish करने में वो आजादी है. Then the second is relates to the right to administration of such institution. That means if that institution is for the minority, then who has constructed it? Maybe somebody from minority. So who's going to administer it? Should be somebody from minority only. So these two clauses, that the minority have the choice for the institution and also who will administer that particular institution is also in their hands. Now they have also explained it a little. The word establishment herein means bringing into being of an institution, and it must be by a minority community. That means कि एक institution या एक educational institution को आप ला रहे हैं, which is run and governed by a minority community. Now, the administration means management of the affairs of the institution. Thus, in order to claim minority or linguistic status for an institution in any state, the authorities must be satisfied, firstly, that the institution has been established by the persons who are minority in such a state, and secondly, the right of administration of the said minority or linguistic institution is also vested in those persons who are minority in such a state. So in a particular state, firstly they will have the right key, the person, those who are in minority, they have the right or they have a choice to open an institution. Then the administrative person who's in charge for the running of the particular institution should also be from the minority which is existing in that state. भले ही अगली जो अगल बगल की states में उनकी संख्या ज्यादा है और वो वहां पे minority ना हो, चलेगा. But अगर उस particular state में वो minority है, that means they are lesser in number. So these two clauses have to be enforced. The right conferred by Article 30 cannot be interpreted as if irrespective of the persons who establish the institution in the state for the benefit of persons who are minority, any person, be it non-minority in other place, can administer and run such institution. So now they are saying anyone who is not in minority can join this institute, but can not run and administer the institution if it is put up by a minority or if it is administered and looked after by the minority. Clear? I give it just 2 minutes break to you all.